welcome to Scrappin with Sheri and page 60 in our sketchbook. One of my customers asked me the other day, are you nearing the end of your sketchbook pages? And I said, oh no, we have a long way to go. And I'm thrilled with that because I love pulling out these sketches and challenging myself to make them work on my pages. Now, you know I've been doing a lot of cleaning out clutter and getting rid of scraps and things like that. So I pulled several different papers from several different collections. And I want to start with our base paper. This one is just a rain sheet. And I have had this put back forever and ever and ever because how often do you take pictures of just rainy days? But I have one. It's got this brown texture on the back. I cannot remember what collection this came from, but some of you who remember everything will know. Also with this page, I had pulled out, there's a border here, and I had this border made already, and I thought, well, that's kind of pretty, and it might work with my pictures. And then I pulled out a scrap of this yellow. This was a map from one of the map packs. This is from Out of This World, and I just like the color variations in that. And then I've got a blue here, and I'm going to use these to make these stripes along the bottom. So the first thing I want to do is cut the stripes along the bottom. Then I'm going to show you kind of what I have in my head, and we'll go from there and see what we end up with. So the stripes along the bottom are 3 inches high and 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a 3-inch. And I've got 3 different colors. Looks like they may have used 3 different colors as well. That's what I was checking out. They used 4. So we'll see what we come up with. I'm going to cut several. It's a 1.5 inch, so I shouldn't need 4 completely, but I'll cut 4 of each color, and that should give me something to play with to determine placement of colors and things like that. Now this page is actually going to be from a trip we took to see our granddaughter, and while we were there, the area was, it was raining, it was lightning, it was a bad storm, and there were tornadoes or possible tornadoes not too far from where we were. So we were all just kind of hanging out at the house, and you'll see in just a minute why I decided I had to do these pictures. I'm just a sucker for a fun picture, and especially something I've never scrapbooked before. And I have to say, this is one of those things I had never really scrapbooked before, so made this one a little bit fun for me. All right, we're about to get all this cutting done. I'll do the 3-inch this way. Every time I have to decide which trimmer to use for something like this, I'm automatically falling in love more and more with the new trimmer that's coming out, hopefully to Advisors the end of July. I can't wait for that new trimmer. And the fact that I won't have to switch back and forth between this personal trimmer and my 12-inch quite as much. We've got a 1.5 there. Yep, we are done cutting. All right, so let me pull the pictures. Because the weather was bad, my son-in-law had to go into a closet at his workplace, and he puts on a hard hat when he does that, just to protect his head in case things start falling from tornadoes or whatever. And we were home with my granddaughter, and she didn't know what was going on, but she put on her bicycle helmet. She thought that was kind of funny, and I love the fact that they're both in their helmets while the storm is going on outside. Now, if I look at this sketch, all of their little stripes are along the bottom, and I really like the look of that. The problem is, this is my favorite part of the paper. The upper side of the paper, I don't think is quite as obvious that it's raindrops. It's just got that darker blue. So I think I'm going to add my stripes along the top. And I'm just going to kind of alternate what I put where. I guess we'll just do a pattern. Maybe I want to put that yellow in between because it's kind of light. I do like this as a great way to add, to finish up some scraps in your collection. And that one will kind of go off the side. And then my thought was I would add this border over the edge of that because they've got a border here. And then put this border and just lay the pictures right in between those two borders. Now I like that. I like the way everything coordinates. I like this rain here. The only thing that I really don't like, I think these pictures fade into this orange a little bit. So I'm gonna pull some white and matte these in white before I put them on my orange. And then we'll just finish out this page real quick. So I am looking at the fact that I could cut some tops off of these pictures as well. I think his head is, well, her head right there is pretty close to the top. So if I stack all three of these together, I can just cut a little bit off the top of these. That'll give us a little more space on the page. And then I am going to take a little bit off of a side here just to give me some spacing in between my pictures. I don't have to do it on every one, but I am going to do a little here and here. And then we are going to tape these on our white sheet, and then I'll cut it down and we'll be almost finished. This is a really quick page. I didn't need this one as a double spread, but how quickly you could do a double spread with this once you cut those strips out of your scrap paper. And this is just to add a little bit of a white border, just to take away some of the oranginess. I wanted to use the orange for a couple of reasons. It mimics her little PJs, but it also was a scrap already cut, and I've had it in my bag forever in my organization, and that's what I keep looking for. Okay, how can I use this scrap to finish out a page or to make a page look better? All right. We're going to cut just that little edge right there. Bring that in kind of close. And then let's tape all this down real quick. And I'm just lining these up across the top of this paper. I'm sure on the video you probably can't tell it, but this paper actually had been in my bag so long, the whole top edge of it is just as wrinkled as it can be. It looks awful. But by covering this top edge up, I'm losing all of that. You can't tell how badly it's been mistreated, being hauled around forever. And I just knew there would come a time when I would need this rain paper. And this yellow is darker and lighter on front and back. I wasn't really looking at that. I'm just pulling and taping. I do think that having this print from Out of This World with the little star shapes on it helps a lot because it really ties all my colors together. And that's going to be just a touch too long, so we're going to trim that off with our 12-inch trimmer. There we go. So we'll go ahead and put the top border on. I do want it to go up high enough that I'm not seeing the blue through this. This was a cute paper pack. I think it was called maybe Citrus Summer or something like that. I taught a border class with this. It seems like 100 years ago. I'm sure it was probably about maybe 4 or 5, 6 years ago, something like that. And in cutting the borders for that class, I ended up with some extra. That's where this came from. But such a cute paper pack. It was all in oranges, which is not typically my favorite color. But made some really cute summertime pages. I think that's pretty straight. We'll add that in. And I'm going to tape it top and bottom, but when I put it on there, I'm not going to push the bottom down just yet. I don't want a ton of that border showing necessarily. And I'm using the little edges of that little flowery design in there to line this up. And then we're going to put tape on this and add it along the bottom. I can feel I'm getting close to the end of this tape runner roll because it's getting a little bit harder to pull. Now for this one, again, I'm going to line it up about the same as I did on the top. And I'm trying to decide as I'm putting this down, is it bothering me that there's no orange showing on these outside edges? And I kind of think it will. So we're going to remedy that. Because I don't need all of that height anyway. I'm just going to cut me a little strip here. And I'm going to put these little strips in on the side right here. I think that will make this look a little bit better. So I'm going to need repositionable tape for that. That is way too skinny for me to try to do with my regular tape. You know, use up these scraps and make them work for you. So I'm just going right down through there. I'll tear that off with my fingernail. And you won't ever be able to tell that I already had these two borders finished and didn't have more of this paper to use to make it matted. That gives us just a little orange on the sides. Look at that. And then we're back to putting this one on like we intended to do in the first place. Now, how cute is this? All right, there. So I am seeing I've got just a little bit of overhang here still. I'm going to pull out that 12-inch trimmer one more time and just see if I can clear that off. Once I put it on my scrapbook page, nobody will ever know that, but it's just bugging me just a little bit right there. And I got just a little edge off of it. All right. So this page is finished until I do my journaling. I'm not sure yet if I'll do a journaling box or if I'll do just the right now strips, but all we did was take page 60 in our sketchbook. We turned the design upside down to keep the rain here, which is what I really wanted. We used scraps, but this one scrap pulls in all of our colors and helps everything coordinate perfectly. I pulled the colors that were in her helmet. His helmet is white, so it worked. And I used pre-done borders to add this in. So, page 60 in the sketchbook is done. And until I see you next time, happy scrapping.